An open-ended question. Tom designed the following circuit for an apartment with a living room, bedroom, and bathroom. So in the picture, you can see what the circuit looks like. So for this question, the key concepts that are actually being tested here is the advantages and disadvantages of different arrangement of bulbs. So there are two arrangements, series and parallel. So if you look at the picture, can you tell me what arrangement this circuit is in? If you said series, you're absolutely right. So now let's look at part A. List two disadvantages of this circuit and explain your answer. So the disadvantages of series arrangement is that when one of the bulb fuses, the entire circuit becomes an open circuit. And what happens is that electric current cannot flow through an open circuit. This means that all the bulbs will not light up. What about the second disadvantage? So the second disadvantage is that bulbs connected in series are actually less bright than bulbs connected in parallel. So if one day you ever find yourself in the situation where you need to set up the arrangement of the lights in your house, I hope you remember these disadvantages. Now let's move on to part B. So, part B. Complete the following circuit diagram using only switches and wires to address the disadvantages in A. So, from part A, we know that the best kind of arrangement for the light bulbs in this apartment would be parallel. And so the key concepts that are being tested here is actually knowing parallel arrangement of light bulbs and recognizing the components of electric circuits. So let us begin by first drawing the wires, right? So we want them to be in a parallel arrangement. So this is how, right, we draw the wires, like this. So now, we are still missing one thing, and that is the switches. Because if we can't switch it off, then it would always be on. And we do not want to waste electricity now, do we? So let's put in the switches. Remember earlier I showed a table about what the switch looks like in symbol form? I told you it would come in handy. So here it is. These are the switches. So these switches are placed here such that you can control every light in each room. That's very useful, right? So now, let's move on to part C. Tom wants to add an additional switch so that all the lights in the apartment can be switched off at the same time from his bedroom. Draw on the circuit in B and X to mark the position of this additional switch. So this switch has to control the entire circuit, which means it will be very vital to keeping the circuit open or closed. A bit like the previous questions in talking about bulb holder Z. So you can put the switch anywhere along this line. Okay? Anywhere along this line. Because two things. It has to control the entire circuit, whether it is open or closed. And the second point is that it has to be in his bedroom. And that is all for this question, part C. Oh, did you manage to get this right? So now let's move on. So before we wrap all this up, let us recall the keywords we used in the topic of electricity. So the first one is electric current. Electric current can only flow through a closed circuit. We also want to remember what happens when the bulb is fused. When the bulb is fused, it creates an opening. And the other thing we learned is series and parallel circuit arrangements. Remember their advantages and disadvantages too. Next, we have open circuit. Electric current cannot flow through an open circuit. And finally, closed circuit. Electric currents can flow through a closed circuit. And that is all for today. Till next time. Bye bye.